Introduction. You've been there before, sitting at your desk for hours, textbooks open, notes scattered everywhere, coffee turning cold. Your eyes sting, your brain feels heavy, and your motivation starts to fade. But when the test finally comes, you realize something painful. You can barely remember half of what you studied. Frustrating, isn't it? All those late nights, all that effort, and still the results just don't match the work you've done. So you start wondering, why does studying longer not always mean learning more? Here's the truth most people never realize: time doesn't equal learning. Your brain doesn't measure effort in hours, it measures effectiveness. And that's where the real secret lies. Because in this video, I'm going to share 3 powerful study hacks backed by neuroscience and practiced by some of the world's most efficient learners that will help you learn faster, remember longer, and perform better without burning out or wasting hours stuck at your desk. So, if you've ever believed that success in studying means grinding for 6 hours straight, it's time to let that myth go. Because the real key to mastery isn't about how long you study, it's about how smartly you do it. Would you like me to expand this intro slightly further, around 20%, to make it more cinematic and emotionally engaging for YouTube delivery, e.g., with pacing cues and subtle tonal shifts? The problem with traditional studying, enhanced version. Let's be honest for a moment. Most students confuse busyness with progress. They spend hours at their desks, highlighters everywhere, notes perfectly color coded, pages filled with arrows and underlines. And yet, when the test finally arrives, their mind goes completely blank. You know that feeling, right? You studied all day, your brain feels heavy, but somehow the information just doesn't stick. You think you're learning, but in reality, you're just reviewing without remembering. This is what I call the illusion of productivity. It feels like progress, but it's not. Because the truth is, time spent doesn't equal knowledge gained. Here's why those long study hours often fail you. First, your attention curve naturally drops after about 45 to 60 minutes. That means the longer you sit there forcing yourself to focus, the less your brain actually absorbs. You're reading, but your mind is drifting. You're staring at the words, but the meaning is gone. Second, most students rely on passive learning. They reread the same paragraphs, copy notes word for word, highlight everything in sight, but never truly test what they know. It feels safe and familiar, but it builds only weak memory connections. Your brain isn't being challenged, it's being lulled into comfort. And third, let's talk about mental fatigue and information overload. When you push your brain for hours without rest, you flood it with too much information, too fast. The result? You might memorize something for a short while, but within days, maybe even hours, it fades. Think about the last time you pulled an all-nighter before an exam. You powered through, maybe even felt confident walking in. But a week later, it was as if your brain hit delete. That's not real learning. That's survival mode, cramming information just long enough to get by. And deep down, you already know it's not sustainable. Because real learning isn't about how much time you spend, it's about how deeply you engage. So the real question becomes, how can you study less time, but actually remember more? How do you replace the illusion of productivity with genuine understanding and long-term retention? Would you like me to expand this section further, plus 20%, in a more storytelling and cinematic YouTube tone, like the intro style earlier? It'll make it flow more naturally for voiceover pacing. Study hack number 1, the 25-minute focus burst. Here's the truth. Studying longer doesn't mean studying better. In fact, it often means the opposite, because your brain isn't built for endless hours of focus. It's built for bursts of energy followed by recovery. And that's where this first study hack comes in, the 25-minute focus burst. You may have heard it called the Pomodoro method, but it's far more than just a time trick. It's a science-backed way to train your brain for deep, distraction-free concentration. Imagine this for a moment. Instead of sitting for 6 hours straight, losing energy, zoning out, and scrolling endlessly between notes and notifications, you divide your study time into small, powerful blocks. 25 minutes of pure focus, followed by a 5-minute break. That's it. 25 minutes where your world narrows down to one single task. No phone, no background music with lyrics, no multitasking, just you and the work in front of you. Here's how the structure works. Study for 25 minutes, set a timer, and fully commit. This is your focus sprint. Go deep. Don't skim, don't jump around, just engage fully. Take a 5-minute break. Step away, stretch, breathe, let your mind rest. This short recovery time is crucial. Repeat 3 to 4 rounds. After 4 focus bursts, reward yourself with a longer break, 15 to 30 minutes to recharge completely. Now, why does this method work so well? Because it keeps your brain operating in its optimal focus zone. 25 minutes is long enough to make real progress, but short enough to prevent mental fatigue. It also prevents burnout. You're not fighting your brain's limits, you're working with them. Those small breaks allow your mind to refresh, so when you return, you're sharper and more alert than before. And here's the secret benefit. It builds momentum through small wins. Every 25-minute burst gives you a quick sense of achievement. You finish a block and think, okay, that wasn't so bad. I can do one more. And before you know it, you've studied for 2 hours with full engagement, while others are dragging through 6 hours of half focus and fatigue. Let's take an example. Meet Sarah. She used to study 6 hours straight every night before exams. Drained, distracted, and stressed out. But after switching to the 25-minute focus burst, something amazing happened. She started finishing her sessions with energy left over. She studied less time, remembered more, and actually looked forward to studying because it no longer felt like a marathon. It felt like a rhythm, a sustainable flow between effort and rest. Now, one small but powerful tip. During those 5-minute breaks, don't grab your phone. Seriously. It tricks your brain back into distraction mode. Instead, move your body. Stretch, walk around, get a sip of water, or step outside for fresh air. Give your brain oxygen and a true mental reset. Because remember, your focus is like a muscle. It strengthens not through exhaustion, but through recovery and repetition. So now, your focus is sharper, cleaner, and stronger than ever. But focus alone isn't enough. The next step is about making sure that what you learn actually sticks. Because studying is one thing, remembering it when it matters most, that's another level entirely. Let me ask you something. Have you ever read a page in your textbook, and the moment you turn the page, you realize you have no idea what you just read? You've highlighted, underlined, maybe even reread it twice, but when the exam comes, your mind goes completely blank. That's because rereading isn't real learning. It feels productive, but it's not. You're just recognizing the information, not remembering it. Here's the truth. Our brains don't remember what we read. They remember what we struggle to recall. And that's the foundation of active recall, the study method that top students, memory experts, and neuroscientists swear by. Active recall simply means this. Instead of reviewing information passively, you pull it out of your brain over and over again. You test yourself, you retrieve, you rebuild the memory each time, and with every effort, those neural connections grow stronger. Think of it like this. Every time you recall something, your brain is saying, "This is important. Keep it." Here are a few simple ways to practice active recall. Close your book and explain the topic aloud. Pretend you're teaching it to someone else, a friend, a classmate, or even your dog. If you can teach it clearly, you truly understand it. Use flashcards or quiz yourself. Apps like Anki or Quizlet are great tools, but even handwritten flashcards work perfectly. The key is testing, not reading. Write down everything you remember. After a study session, take a blank page and write out every fact, definition, or idea you can recall without looking. Then check what you missed and fill in the gaps. Now, let's talk about why this works so well. When you recall information, you're forcing your brain to rebuild connections. It's like lifting weights for your memory. Each time you struggle to remember, your brain fires those neural pathways again, making them thicker, faster, and more permanent. Over time, this process moves information from short-term storage, where it's easily forgotten, into long-term memory, where it stays ready for when you actually need it. That's why top-performing students often spend less time rereading and more time testing themselves, because every quiz, every recall, every small struggle is training the brain to retain, not just recognize. Here's a quick experiment to try right now. Pick one subject you're studying, reread your notes once. Then, without looking, write down or say out loud everything you can remember. You'll be surprised. You might realize, oh wow, I thought I knew this, but I actually didn't. And that moment, that small discomfort, is where real learning begins because your brain pays attention to what it struggles with. And once it locks that in, you'll recall it effortlessly during your exam, presentation, or interview. So now you've learned how to focus like a laser with 25-minute bursts and how to lock in your knowledge using active recall. But there's one more problem. Even the strongest memories fade if you don't revisit them. So, how do you make what you've learned last for months, even years? That's what we'll unlock next. Study hack 3. You've learned how to focus. You've learned how to recall. Now comes the secret that separates short term crammers from lifelong learners. It's called spaced repetition, the system that makes knowledge stick for years, not days. Let's be honest, your brain forgets fast. Studies show that after just one day, you forget about 70% of what you studied. It's not because you're lazy or bad at learning, it's simply how the brain works. Imagine this. Every new piece of information you learn is like drawing a line in the sand. If you don't go over it again soon, the waves of time wash it away. That's where spaced repetition comes in. It's the art of revisiting your knowledge at the right intervals, just before you're about to forget it. Here's how it works. After you study something new, don't just move on forever. Come back to it after 1 day, then 3 days, then 1 week, and finally 1 month. Each time you return, your brain says, "Oh, I've seen this before," and it rebuilds that neural pathway, stronger than before. The more you space out your reviews, the deeper the knowledge embeds itself. You're literally telling your brain, this information matters. Keep it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Do I really have to track all that? Good news, you don't have to do it manually. There are powerful tools built specifically for this method. Apps like Anki, Quizlet, or Remnote. They use smart algorithms to schedule your reviews automatically, showing you the right flashcard at the exact moment your brain is about to forget. It's like having a personal memory coach in your pocket. And if you prefer old school, you can do it with a simple notebook. Just mark down what you learned today, then review it tomorrow, 3 days later, 1 week later, and 1 month later. Simple, effective, powerful. Think of spaced repetition like watering a plant. If you pour all the water at once, it doesn't help. It just floods the soil. But a little water, given regularly, helps the roots grow deep and strong. Your memory works the same way. If you try to cram everything in one night, it feels productive, but most of it fades by morning. When you review in spaced intervals, your knowledge doesn't just survive, it thrives. It becomes something you can recall effortlessly, even months later. So instead of studying harder, study smarter. Don't drown your brain with repetition in one sitting. Feed it little by little over time, because consistency beats intensity every single time. Now let's connect the dots. You've learned how to study in focused bursts for maximum attention. You've learned how to use active recall to strengthen memory. And now, with spaced repetition, you know how to keep that knowledge for the long run. So the question is, how do you combine them all into one powerful daily system? Let's find out in the next section, putting it all together. So now you've got all three study hacks: focus, recall, and repetition. But here's the truth. Knowing them isn't enough. The real transformation happens when you combine them into one simple, powerful daily system, a system that doesn't require 6 hours a day, a system that turns every minute of study into progress that sticks. Let's put it all together. Here's what your day could look like. Step 1. Start your day with a 25-minute power session. No distractions, no multitasking, just one focused burst, deep, deliberate study. During this time, your only goal is understanding, not memorizing, not cramming, just absorb and connect the ideas. Step 2. Right after you finish, use active recall. Close your book. Ask yourself, what did I just learn? Try explaining it out loud or write it from memory. Don't worry if you forget things. That's part of the process. Because every time you struggle to recall, your brain grows stronger. Step 3. Schedule your reviews using spaced repetition. Tomorrow, review what you learned. Then again after 3 days, then after 1 week, then after 1 month. Each review is like tightening a knot. The more you do it, the harder it is to forget. That's it. 3 simple steps. One unstoppable system. You don't need to study longer. You need to study smarter, because it's not the hours that count. It's the strategy behind them. Think about it. 25 minutes of focus, 5 minutes of recall, and a few quick reviews over time. That's all it takes to outlearn 90% of people who spend entire evenings studying without a plan. Let's recap. Hack number one, focus bursts for laser sharp concentration. Hack number two, active recall for powerful memory. Hack number three, spaced repetition for long term mastery. Put them together, and you have something extraordinary, a system that rewires your brain for deep, lasting learning. So remember, studying isn't about suffering, it's about strategy. And when you master the strategy, you won't just pass tests, you'll master knowledge itself. Mindset and lifestyle bonus. Now that you've built your study system, let's talk about something even more important, your mindset and lifestyle. Because no study hack, no app, no strategy can save you if your brain is exhausted, unfocused, or overwhelmed. Learning isn't just about what you do at your desk, it's about how you live when you're away from it. Let's start with sleep. This one's non negotiable. When you sleep, your brain doesn't shut down, it goes to work. It takes everything you've learned during the day and consolidates it, turning short term memory into long term understanding. Skip sleep, and it's like hitting delete on everything you studied. Next, exercise. You don't need to run a marathon or lift heavy weights. Even a 20-minute walk boosts oxygen to your brain, improves focus, and helps you think clearer and longer. Remember, a strong body supports a sharp mind. Then there's nutrition and hydration. Your brain runs on glucose, oxygen, and water. If you feed it junk and forget to hydrate, don't expect it to perform like a high-speed engine. Eat clean. Drink water. Your brain will thank you with sharper memory and deeper focus. And finally, digital hygiene. Because let's be honest, our phones are the biggest thieves of attention. Every ping, every scroll, every notification pulls you away from your flow. So when it's time to study, turn off the noise. Create a quiet space. Protect your focus like it's sacred, because it is. Here's what I want you to remember. Your brain is like a muscle. The way you train it matters more than how long you push it. Feed it well, rest it right, challenge it smart. Do that, and you won't just become a better student, you'll become a stronger thinker. Closing call to action. So let's bring it all together. You've just learned the truth that most people never realize. Success in studying isn't about time spent, it's about how you spend that time. Because real learning doesn't come from sitting at a desk for 6 hours straight, highlighting every line and praying it sticks. It comes from focus. It comes from intention. It comes from using the right methods again and again until they become second nature. Remember this, study smarter, not longer. Mastering knowledge isn't about time, it's about technique. When you combine focus bursts, active recall, and spaced repetition, you create a system that makes every minute count. Even 1 hour of smart studying can beat 6 hours of mindless effort. So here's my challenge for you. For the next 7 days, pick one subject, just one, and apply these 3 hacks. Watch how your focus sharpens. Watch how much more you remember. Watch how studying transforms from something stressful into something strategic. And when you see the change, you'll realize it was never about working harder. It was about learning how to learn. If this video helped you, hit that like button, share it with a friend who's struggling to retain information, and subscribe for more science-backed strategies on learning, focus, and personal growth. Because this channel isn't just about studying better, it's about becoming better, one smart habit at a time.